Have you ever run a marathon? Some days I feel like this year is like running a marathon that I haven't trained for. People who have run marathons say that at the beginning it's exciting. You have energy. Maybe you've just had a snack or a drink of water. It's new and everyone around you is also running with excitement. But when you get to mile 13, it starts to get harder and you've run out of snacks and energy and it's not new anymore or exciting. You've only made it halfway. And of course, as you hit mile 23, 24, 25, and finally mile 26, it starts to get even harder. But now the finish line is in sight, and hopefully you can push yourself to reach the finish line as your friends and family cheer you on. But when we compare running a marathon to this time in our lives, it's not a perfect comparison since we don't even know when the end is. But what we do know is that it's certainly not new and exciting anymore. It's old, and we think we need a finish line. Hebrews 12, verses 1 through 3, talks about a different kind of marathon, a marathon of faith. It says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart." The first thing that's mentioned in this passage is that we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. This passage immediately follows the infamous Hebrews faith chapter, in which the author talks about many of the most faithful followers of God in the Bible. This cloud of witnesses can certainly refer to the faithful ones who have gone before us, but I think it can also refer to those we have surrounded ourselves with today. During these times of hardship and discouragement, I think it's a good reminder of how we need to be diligent about surrounding ourselves with godly people who will keep us sharp, as it says in Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. It reminds me of the crowd of onlookers who cheer on the runners as they continue to run. The rest of this passage primarily talks about Jesus and how he helps us run our race of faith. Jesus took on our sins willfully and with a love-filled joy to suffer on the cross for our sins. But where did his joy come from? I think it was the joy of thinking of how wonderful it would be to see God's children have restored relationships with him. In James chapter 1, verses 2 through 3, we read again about this same topic. It says, "Consider it joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." These days it might be harder to find joy in suffering, but it is our job to look for it and know that we are growing our faith through trials. In this passage, it says that Jesus is the perfecter of our faith. We don't have to do this on our own. God is not asking us to endure trials and be perfect as we are growing in our faith. He is asking us to look to Jesus to complete the work that has been started in us. The book of Hebrews was written to the Jewish Christians, and the author is reminding them that Jesus is the ultimate priest who offers the ultimate and perfect sacrifice for our sins. We cannot, by any acts of our own, perfect our own faith. Only Jesus can do this for us. Every marathon has a finish line, right? But it's not the knowledge of knowing where or when the finish line is. It's the knowledge of knowing who the finish line is that ensure to encourage us to keep running the race. It's towards the end of the race that it gets especially hard. But what if we don't know when the race will end? We may not know when the hard times will end, but we do know that God will be faithful in the waiting. We just need to trust in him during this marathon of faith. We can keep our eyes on Jesus to give us hope and encouragement on days we may want to give up or take a detour. He is our hope and our prize as we run our race.